Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where in today's episode, I've got some super satisfying stories where entitled people get absolutely what they deserve. Guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and before we dive into the stories, I'd love for you to answer this question. Would you be willing to name your daughter Karen? So, OP posted this in r/AmITheAhole, and he says, "My wife and I recently found out that we're having a daughter. Now, we hadn't really talked about names before, but we both agreed that each of us will retain veto power. When we did start discussing names, both of us wanted to name her after our mothers. Now, her mom's name was Karen, and my mom's name wasn't a meme. I told her the baby can take my mom's name as her first name and her mom's name as a middle name, or have an entirely different name, but I can't okay the name Karen as a first name. My wife got offended because she just wants to honor her mother and thinks that I have a problem with that. To be honest, I just don't want to set our daughter up to be picked on throughout her life. I told her I'd be fine with whatever first name she picks, as long as it doesn't lead to the baby being picked on. But she's pretty insistent on Karen. Is this wrong of me?" My friends, I would love to see what you guys think. Leave your comments below. With that said, it's time to dive into the stories. I do hope you enjoy them today, and do hit that subscribe button for future Entitled People stories. My friends, let's dive in. This happened to me last night. I got into my car to pick up my girlfriend, and my tire pressure light came on. Now, I have a 12-volt air compressor in my back seat, but it's loud and it fills sort of slowly, so I opted to drive to the local Wawa. For those that don't have a Wawa, it's like if 7-Eleven got sober and went to college. Wawa's air pumps are free to use, which usually means that there's at least a few cars lined up. But when I pulled up, there was only one other car. Score! I pulled up behind the guy filling his tires, and an older gentleman in a BMW pulled in behind me. After about 3 minutes, a woman in a brand new Lexus pulls up directly next to me, puts her window down and says, "I only have to fill one tire. Do you mind if I go in front of you?" I told her, "Actually, I do. I've been waiting here for a little bit. Sorry." She muttered something while rolling her window up. About a minute later, the guy at the pump was done. He backs up, and before I can even put my car in gear, the Lexus woman pulls her car in front of mine diagonally, blocking me from pulling into the spot, and then pulls straight in after the guy's moved. She climbs out of her car and gives me the most infuriating little wave and smirk. Now, at this point, my anger gives way to a ninja-like calm, and I know exactly what must be done. I pulled my car forward and stopped about 6 inches from her rear bumper. The air pump is in the corner of the lot, so the Lexus woman has a curb in front of her, a curb to the right where the pump is, an open spot to the left, and now my dirty car right behind her brand new one. She's busy filling up her tire and doesn't notice that I've pulled up right behind her car. I step out of my car, grab my air compressor from the back seat, and start setting it up to fill my tire. Mr. BMW, who has remained completely still and silent, sees what I'm doing and asked if I can fill his tires too. I say, of course, and then motion for him to park in the empty spot to the Lexus lady's left. As soon as he pulls in, she notices what's happening and starts yelling. I flip on my air compressor and begin filling my tire. Her cries drowned out by the sound of 250 psi of justice. She comes and stands in front of me, face beet red and little flecks of spittle popping out from between her cigarette teeth as she calls me all sorts of names. I calmly say, "Ma'am, I only have one tire to fill. You don't mind, do you?" Now, Mr. BMW is absolutely loving this. As I finish my tire and move to fill his, she starts up again and says, "You low-life, good-for-nothing a-holes," etc., etc. I finish Mr. BMW's tire and he thanks me for my help, climbs into his car and pulls away grinning. I wrap my compressor up nicely, pick a good song, and set my climate control to a balmy 82 degrees, all while Lexus lady's trapped in front of me. I calmly back up, give her a little wave, and drive off into the night. The only thing that would have made this story even better is if OP wasted more of her time. I can never understand how some people can do such a piece of crap move like that and not even feel an ounce of guilt. And then she even has the audacity to call OP a low-life, good-for-nothing a-hole. Well, the same can be said about you, lady. The same can be said about you. I was 18 and I was a shift manager at a local fast food joint. Like every place, we had a couple of usuals who were jerks for the sake of being jerks. One of them was an over-the-top entitled Karen who found fault with everything. and she would go ballistic if you so much as failed to address her as ma'am in every sentence. Things came to a head when she was so rude to one of our counter clerks that she made the girl cry. I told the girl to go back to the break room and take a breather, and then calmly informed the woman that she was no longer welcome in our store. That triggered the nuclear option. I waited for the screaming and cursing to stop, waved her to the door, and then watched as she left. I sent corporate her credit card number and her license plate info, and they sent her a "You're banned from all stores" letter. Filed it with a local PD and told us to call cops immediately if she ever showed up in our store again. Which she did. A few weeks later, she showed up ready to launch into another tirade for whatever imagined offense might occur. We politely kicked her out despite her screaming that the do not trespass order was fake, wasn't legal, and did not apply to her. It happened again a couple of times, but eventually her luck broke and there happened to be 2 cops on their dinner break in the restaurant. I was on shift that night, and I can tell you that I've never been so satisfied as when I showed the officers the order, identified the entitled woman as the person referred to in it, told them about her frequent return visits, and then watched them arrest her on the spot. Best of all, I never had to testify. She went totally ballistic and scratched the cop's face. No need to book her for trespassing when resisting arrest and cop assault were so convenient. Now, after they hauled her away, I noticed that her car was still in our lot. Oh, yes. That call to the towing company was the most satisfying 2 minutes of my young life. Sure, I could have just let it sit there until she came back for it, but make my coworker cry, enjoy your trip to the impound lot, ma'am. So going through the comments, a lot of people are leaving ways that they've tampered with people who have caused trouble. It's ridiculous. I wonder how many times she's been served food that's been accidentally dropped on the floor. And that's one of the better things to have happen to your food if you're a jerk. Always be kind to people who handle your food, guys. It's not worth it. So, I work for a construction company, and we do remodeling on homes. We have a rule here that we get to keep anything we find hidden behind the walls. So we hired this new guy who was a total a-hole from day one. I've been working for the company for 5 years, and this guy has only been doing construction for 1 year. And the thing is, he would always think he knows better than me and try to tell me what to do. Anyways, he would always make fun of my clothes and my accent, and one day, he went too far by telling my boss about my private Instagram account. He took my phone from me one day while I was using it and looked through my Instagram page and showed my boss pictures of me smoking weed. Now, I was so mad that he violated my privacy, so I made a plan to screw him over. Now, he was the kind of guy who would always come in late and complain that trains or traffic is why he was always late. So one day I'm sitting there, and I overheard him saying that if he won the lottery, he would quit his job for not getting the respect he deserves. So I decided to buy some fake gold coins online and put them in a metal box I found at the antique store and waited for a chance to hide it in a wall. Luckily, I did not have to wait long. The day he found the coins, it seemed like it was his best day ever. First thing he did when he opened the box was he called my boss a loser, and he quit immediately on the spot. He said, "F this place, I'm rich." So little did he know was that was the best day of my life. After he quit, my boss told us that he was gonna fire him anyway for always showing up late. I wish I could see the look on his face when he finds out the gold coins are fake. Best $40 I've spent in my life. What in the friggin' world, guys? First of all, who the heck screams out that they quit after they find some old coins in an antique box in the wall? How do you know they're worth something, sir? Let's just go ahead and burn your bridge right away. So not only is this guy a little bit entitled, but he doesn't sound too bright either. So, I work at a frozen yogurt store, one of those self-serve places where you make your own and weigh it. It's an easy job and also generally pleasant. I also happen to live in a fairly wealthy area, and the vast majority of my customers are very wealthy folks. And while 99% of them are awesome, wonderful people, there's always some bad apples. Slightly rude or short with me is one thing, but once in a while we get a customer in who's truly an entitled monster. Now, this young lady was one of those people. It's about 6 or 7 p.m. and it's a very busy day. I've been cutting up fresh fruit for the fridge, and now I'm bringing it out for the customers to use. Enter the entitled princess and her friend. Both would be around 17 or 18 years old, and are getting their yogurt. As I'm passing them, the girl sticks her foot out, causing me to fall and spill about 6 containers of mango all over the floor. I take a deep breath and ask the customers to please not walk on it while I go and grab something to clean up the mess. The girl's friend immediately begins to help me, getting on the floor and scooping it into a pile. The entitled princess leans down, laughs, and tugs her friend to her feet, announcing loudly, "Ew, Laura, don't help her. That's what they pay her for," as she purposefully starts to move the mango with her feet and kicking it all over the floor on her way to the cash, making an already huge mess about 5 times worse. Her friend begins to protest, but the entitled princess is clearly Queen Bee and she relents, giving me an apologetic look as they pay and leave. The entitled princess also made sure to run the yogurt all over the place while making hers, so the machines are also really messy and gross now. So about 5 minutes after they left, the store has gotten quiet. I'm going around doing some busy work, cleaning chairs and tables and doing a quick mop, when all of a sudden I notice a wallet lying beside the scale by the register. As is our policy, I open it up to look for the ID, and lo and behold, the wallet appears to belong to the entitled princess. But then looking closer, I notice 2 driver's licenses. One has a name and birth date matching her health card that says she's 16 years old, and the other has a totally different name and birth date that says she's newly 20. Now, I live in Ontario, Canada, where the drinking age is 19, and it dawns on me that that's a fake ID. I chuckle to myself before putting the wallet away to return when she comes back, untouched. Now, I'm not the kind of person to risk my job stealing a forgotten wallet, even if the owner sucks. But then, it happens. About 2 hours after the wallet was found, the entitled princess returns with her dad in tow, both in a snit and clearly expecting the wallet to have mysteriously disappeared. Dad marches up while the princess stands behind, smirking at me, probably remembering what she did. The dad walks up to me and asked if we've seen his precious daughter's LV wallet here, and that she absolutely must have it back at this very moment. Well, this is like Christmas morning for me, because I realize that I get to completely crap over the entitled princess's day. I pull out the wallet and ask, "Is this the wallet you left?" To which she snappily responds that it is, while jumping in front of Dad to try to yank it from my hand. I pull it back, open it up, and say, very calmly with a poker face, "Can I get the name and birth date on the ID just to verify that you're the correct owner?" Now, at this point, Dad rolls his eyes like a dying cow and barks, "Oh, for God's sake. Her name is so-and-so and her birthday is this day." To which I respond with fake ID in hand, "That's not the information I have here, sir." Right before I swiftly reach over the entitled princess's grasping fingers and hand the ID to Dad, there's a moment of horrible, fantastic silence while Dad takes the ID in his hand. About 10 to 15 seconds later, I break the tension by pulling out the real license and saying, "Oh, actually, you know what? Here it is. The other one must be old or something." All while giving the entitled princess my best fake grin and holding out her wallet for her to take. The entitled princess reaches out to take it, but Dad leans over and snatches the wallet from me, absolutely fuming, shooting her daughter a look that could peel paint and snapping, "We'll talk about this in the car." My boss almost wet herself when I told her the next day. Don't you just love it when karma gets people like that? Some entitled rich kids can be so cruel. Like, come on, sticking your foot out to trip somebody when they're trying to do their job, and then laughing at them while they're trying to clean up the mess. Oh my freaking goodness. The only thing that would have made this story so much sweeter is if there was a cop in line waiting and caught the whole thing. I took my daughter homecoming shopping at our local mall. She was in the dressing room, and I had several dresses hanging on the outside of the door. The shop is very busy and full. I was standing outside her door when an entitled woman comes over. The woman starts looking through the dresses we'd chosen hanging on the door. I said, "Excuse me, but those are the dresses my daughter's about to try on." The woman says, "I know, but my daughter really wants to try on this black one, and you have the only one in her size." I told her she could have it after my daughter tries it on, if she decided that's not what she wanted. The woman huffed and walked away. My daughter comes out in a red dress she really liked, but she really wanted to try on the rest. I was holding the red dress, and at this point, the woman comes back and asked if she's done with the dress yet. I say no, she's trying it on now. The woman gets huffy and basically yells at my daughter to hurry up, saying, "How long can it possibly take to try on a dress?" She then eyes the red dress in my hand and says, "What about that one?" I told her it was a contender, and she goes off complaining that we've taken all the dresses in her daughter's size. Then she notices another dress we have hanging on the door and completely loses it. screaming about how that was the dress her daughter had come for, and we were ruining her first formal shopping trip. At this point, I was livid. I told her to go away, that it was also my daughter's first formal, and she should have come earlier. She walked over to her daughter's fitting room and starts loudly telling her that rude people over there had every dress her size, and that we've basically ruined her day. We had 6 dresses. My daughter tried them all on, but was having trouble deciding which out of the 3 that the woman wanted was her favorite, all while listening to this woman make a scene. I told my daughter to get dressed and hung the 3 dresses she definitely didn't want on the go-back rack, keeping the 3 dresses the woman wanted in my arms. People had started lining up to try on dresses, and the rude woman refused to let her daughter come out of the fitting room because she was waiting on the 3 dresses in my arms. The woman came over as my daughter comes out of the fitting room and very nastily said, "Took you long enough? We've been waiting a very long time for you to finish. Now which one did you not want?" Now, at this point, my daughter was almost in tears, and I've made up my mind at that moment. I looked at the woman in her face and smugly said, "We've decided to take all 3. That way, she can decide in the comfort of our home with no pressure." The woman followed me to the register in disbelief as I purchased all 3 dresses, cursing me every step. She tried to tell the cashier that it wasn't fair, but the cashier just told her that I had every right to buy as many dresses as I wanted. After we got home, my daughter put on a fashion show for me, her dad, and siblings with the 3 dresses. She chose the red one. Best money I've ever spent. To think that if that woman had asked OP nicely, she may have gotten her daughter a dress that day. OP is my hero. Way to shut down that entitled lady. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /entitled people. Guys, we survived another one. I hope you got some good satisfaction hearing about these entitled people getting what they deserve. If you missed the last episode, I'll link it right here. Karen calls the cops after OP has her car towed from his driveway. Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you.